Hello there. I'm Bob, and today what I wanted to do is revisit an old project of mine, playing through this game called West on the Xbox 360. Now, this is an RPG that I made back in 2010, November of 2010 was released. This was available on the Xbox 360 Indie Games Marketplace for back then it cost 80 Microsoft points, which was the equivalent of about $1. Uh, it was the first, I think, like fully fledged game project that I had started and saw through to completion. And it's 2025 now as of recording this, so it's been about 15 years now since this game came out. Um, and I haven't played it really since then. So I'm sure I have a lot of thoughts about it and a lot of interesting memories to bring up. So I found a 360 that had it installed. I don't think it's possible to get this game anymore, and and neither should it be. But I thought it would be fun to just do a playthrough and talk about it a little bit, and just give maybe some developer commentary, if you will. Try to keep it pretty chill, um, and just look back on some of my memories and things I regret, things that I thought were interesting. A lot has changed in the last 14 years or so. So, you know, anyway, let's get into it here. So I'm playing this on the Xbox 360, the original hardware. Um, the way that I made this game was by using the XNA creators framework. I believe it was like 3 dot something at the time. There was eventually, I believe, a 4.0, but so this was like right at the tail end of Microsoft support for XNA, if I do recall correctly. Now this title screen this is an embarrassment. This is something I probably had done in MS Paint or GIMP maybe, but probably just Paint. Wow. So I'll press start. Wow. I got this the font on the right with the bold and ghosted text there. It looks like something out of Microsoft Word. I'll start with the credits. So basically, I did all the programming, the story, everything for this game. My brother ended up doing a lot of the music and sound effects. I had some concept art from a friend of mine named Joe. He did some hand sketches of things, and I wish I could find those sketches because some of those things are really awesome. Sam and Zach helped me with naming things and testing things, and a lot of the graphics that I got for this game were basically ripped from these sprite resources. This is what do you call those? Like royalty-free spriters resources, and I'll get into that more. But yeah, and then there's the website, which I still own the domain for it as of now, so that was kind of cool. I think back at the day, like you needed to have a screen that showed you how to play, like what the controls were. So I stole this picture of a 360 controller, I think from Microsoft's website, and I crudely drew these lines in MS Paint to show what it did. But it's really simple. I mean, you basically just need, the D-pad and the analog stick, and you can basically mash the A button to get through every battle and win the game that way. So not very difficult. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start a new game. Oh, look at that, the black and white coloring. It just totally pops out from the background. This is just it's so awful. Oh, I see the A button here on the screen. I think one of the early playtests, somebody said that they were confused and didn't know what to do at this point. So press the A button here. So right off the bat, yeah, we have these dialogue boxes, and as a little background, like I had just finished beating Mother 3, and I love the text box style of Earthbound, and I wanted to make sure that my text could have pauses and maybe emphasis on words like that. So I was really proud of this at the time. How it scrolls the letters, it plays the beeping noise as they characters are drawn, and then renders the text with that kind of flavor. I hate the sharp edges on the text box, and I think this is Arial font. And even just looking at the ship, like this is, you've got like anime-ish characters, and then you've got like the the captain's wheel for this boat that's like way out of his reach and really small. These giant barrels. It's just the graphics on this game just amaze me. I did have the animated water tiles, as you see. I was, happy that ended up working. So story-wise, yeah, it's about a family, so sort of like Mother 3, where you have sort of an escape from modern society and an attempt to rebuild that from the ground up. And so this is the backstory of James, who this dad and mom just had, and they are now kind of escaping society and going to this island to try to raise their child away from the modern vices. Cussing, huh? It's an interesting word. James was named after my nephew. Just they swipe and fade to black. I always liked in Mother 1 how after you get the backstory of Ninten's was it great-great-grandfather or great-grandfather or whatever, or just grandfather, I don't recall. But it sets this very interesting story, and then it kind of music cuts and it says, a certain number of years have passed since then. I always thought that was such a cool line. So this is us. This is James, our main character. Graphics in this game, one of the things I wanted to do was basically build the ability for someone to make an RPG akin to, RPG Maker. And so a lot of the capabilities of the engine that I wanted to introduce were direct features of RPG Maker. So you had a tile-based map system, and you can have the little character move around, and there's different layers for like collision and whatnot. There was events that you could interact with if you just walk up and press A. I don't know if I did something on the bed. He's healed. Yeah, like many other RPGs, you might imagine that there's a ton of things that you can interact with early on in these rooms. Like everything here sort of has a description, and then as the game goes on, like everything becomes much less detailed. That it's probably just a sign of my willpower draining toward the end of it, but yeah. So one thing I was really proud of, I think, from technical perspective, was I saw other RPGs at the time where the character is sort of locked to the center of the screen, and then the whole world sort of scrolls around them as if some just giant piece of paper was sliding underneath something in the center. And I wanted to keep the camera sort of independent of the tiles. And so, for example, if you move toward the edge of the screen, you see how the character moves, but the screen stays locked, so we don't just shove the camera off into some huge oblivion and follow the character mindlessly. It kind of locks in a position that makes sense. And you'll see that maybe more on other maps. But yeah, so the character and the tile sheet scrolling independently. It took me a long time to figure out bugs on that. But yeah, anyway, let's get started here. And again, yeah, we're already up to, you can't interact with these beds. Again, the music was mostly made by my brother, and I think it's probably the only good thing that came out of this game was the quality of the music. I think he did a great job. Okay, so we sort of got our first quest here, go out to the barn. These loading times are atrocious. I could probably spend a ton of time getting into why they're so terrible, but... So here's kind of our first like hub of the game. Wow, the collision on these roof tiles is terrible. I'm just flooded with a bunch of memories of working on this farm for so many hours. The chickens don't have hands. I was amazed by it. I don't know where I've heard this line before. Chicken had lips, could it whistle? I swear I've heard it from someone, but it just stuck in my head. I thought it was so stupid. The tile work here is just so bad. Like, you get these jagged edges on the dirt. You get these trees that are like smaller than the player, and they're like, I feel like the player sprite's sort of off center here. There's just so many like different artistic styles that clash and just don't fit. But you know, it was all resources that I had basically taken off the web for free. I just hodgepodge together. At the time, I really didn't have as much concern for like the quality of the artwork. More so, it was could I get it out? You know, could I accomplish the basic principle of it? So one thing I remember about this character is I intentionally wanted to make somebody with a really long dialogue that somebody couldn't skip. You know, I wanted you to be annoyed by this guy. And during playtesting, one of the people complained that you know, this took forever to get through, and they would just sit there mashing the button, and nothing would happen. And so begrudgingly, I put in the ability to skip text by mashing the A button. So if you're in a conversation with somebody, you could just hit A and it'll skip, but render the rest of the text and be done with the kind of animation thing. One thing in the background probably heard was the audio skipping. There was some really strange bug on the audio system for this game. Essentially, there was a function call to you know, tell the sound system to continue on every frame. So that would be made during like the update call, and I don't know why. Occasionally it would stutter, but the audio in this game stutters a lot, and it was a bug I never was able to figure out. Maybe some of the ancient XNA veterans encountered something like that. I don't really know. CPU-wise, we're really not doing a whole lot right now. Like, we're not really creating any objects. You know, we're not allocating a lot of memory. We're just kind of shuffling things around. We're not like reading from disk or anything, so there's just not a lot going on right now that I think would cause the game to stutter like that, or the sound to stutter, but it did. Who's Marcus? Let's see, there it goes. There's a stutter there. Now, this is also during a conversation, and so the sound effect for the little blips of the text may be playing over the audio in the background. Had something to do with it there. These are essentially like WAV files that you packaged up into what was called an XNB file, and then you could access them in the game. I remember there's something called sound banks and wave banks. Anyway, so what was really cool about the 360 is you could offer the demo of your game, and I believe the demo of this game was just the full version with a flag set to true or false. So what you could do is I wanted the vendor in the game to be able to sell you the game. So if I don't know what this is going to do now, nothing. So if you had the demo version, what this would do would just basically, like, if you hit A, it would pop up the Xbox menu and ask you to buy it for 80 Microsoft points, which I thought was funny. Like, you have the ability to buy the game in the game. And then there were some flags around the farm area here where you couldn't leave the area if you were in the demo and whatnot. And it was one of those things where it's like time based, so you could play for, what was it, 5 or 10 minutes, and then it would send you back to the XNA menu. His name is just Vendor. Farmer. Yeah, this guy, I must have put him in afterward after that long droning conversation because because of that feedback, and then I put in that philosophical thing to kind of say, like, what if we could do that? Bradley. Oh, these names. Oh yeah, and this guy checks the flag if you have the full version of the game. There you go. This is Kay. Oh, that must have put her in after I spawned all the flowers. So this is the barn. I guess we'll just keep the story rolling here. This is kind of like the upbeat adventure music. Oh, the sprite doesn't turn to face you. I turn to face it, but the sprite doesn't turn to face me. So Dad's getting older. His fingers don't work. And he wants a feed bag so he can feed the animals. So, yeah, one of the interesting things you'll notice in this game, if you're very careful, is things that are classified as like events. If you're on an adjacent tile and you hit the button, you will turn to face the event. What that very carefully means is that there are never two events like that compete for each other. And so you see there's a gap between this barrel and the shovel. Actually, no, that seems wrong, because I think the top barrel here and this barrel kind of contest for who's looking at what, and I think it must be that we face south, and that event is prioritized first. I tried very carefully throughout, the rest of the game to make sure that we had no other examples of this. But it looks like this one got through. I thought you could see talk to the animals, but I guess not. Anyway, look at this like super pixelated and thin shovel, and then you compare it to like the dad character here, these like super pixelated. I mean, it's just the art in this game is just so bad, and I take it's totally on me. This guy's Carl. I remember that, in a little white hat. So he was telling you about sorting. He was named after one of my computer science professors. So of course the guy who's going to explain the sorting algorithms is he'll get me named Carl. I guess you could go in his house. I don't see that there would be anything here. You got like red bricks. It's weird. Yeah, it's just how these Memoirs of a Cafe is a joke about Java. yeah, just how these sprites like clash, their scale is weird, everything about this is just so odd. Of course, I was just maybe a freshman or sophomore in college. I had no money. I'm not gonna pay somebody to to do any artwork, and object-oriented Java programming for people who like to skydive over waterfalls. That was a joke about a programming book called, it was like Extreme Programming. I had my second year of computer science, and so that was a reference to that book. Anyway, so the feedback that we need for the barn is from this guy, whose name is Farmer. Yeah, I hate that he doesn't turn to look at you. You kind of turn to look at him. That's interesting. I did the sprite work on the vegetable patches myself, breaking it out into tiles. A lot of these other things were just like straight up ripped from sprite sheets, but some of these I remember doing a lot of hand work. Like the scaling of the trees. I think it was just a singular tree, and I kind of plopped two of them together and then shrunk them. And at the time, it was kind of like following sort of like a Dragon Quest thing, where you're gonna have trees and then mountains and water, and just really basic set of sprites. Of course, in this one, you can't walk through the trees. So a little exposition here. Dad's going to take us through our first battle in a moment. Oh, you're equipped with a fishing pole, allegedly. Yeah, I heard a criticism of some RPGs at the time, and mine fell into the same trope of there's really no reason to ever have your character use the defend option. Like, it makes you take less damage, but so what? You might as well just attack. I think that's true. I think you could do something much more interesting where you put up a shield of thorns, you make somebody take damage, maybe you do a little less, but they do less to you. Maybe you're building up health while you defend. Maybe you're like bandaging a wound or something. Oh, the battle transition. So the monsters in this game, again, very heavily inspired by Mother 3 and the chimeras. Each one of these was kind of like a pun, two things together. So this is rat poison. It's a couple of rats drinking, in this case, some kind of liquor. But yeah, this battle screen just brings back a lot of goofy memories. So there's a skill system in this game. Essentially, the characters can level up, and I think they either get 2 or 3 skills total before the end of the game. And there's a limited number of skills. Like I almost like didn't expect players to ever get past like level 6 or 8, whatever it was. And I think the experience gain at that point was just so exponentially high that I was like, I didn't even bother putting any more moves in after that. I don't know why feedback doesn't give a description, but we can't run from this battle, I don't think. Yeah. So let's just attack. And some cool feedback was having the screen shake and then having the controller rumble when you were attacked or you're attacked. Which kind of, it looks like the status box rumbles, but maybe the text doesn't. It's hard to tell there. 2WN. That was wooden nickels. That was the currency, of course, stolen from Curse of Monkey Island. There's an audio stutter there. He doesn't know what booze is. Okay. So James is introduced to something that doesn't seem quite right. Is anything stopping me here? Oh, an old guy. And there's the mountains. Oh my gosh, those are terrible. I started from a sprite sheet, and I'm pretty sure I like tried to trace it, and it's just... Oh man, do those look bad. It's Microsoft Paint for you. So I believe the goal right now is to go to Joshua's house, which is right here. See, he was outside earlier, now he's moved inside. Smart people books. So you go off and spend some time with Joshua fishing. Gotta remember to stay hydrated during these things. So this is the pie eating contest, which was alluded to earlier by our judge here. Kind of the focal point of the first area. So the ideas in this game are sort of intentionally like, God, this is really hard to word. This hippie character is always somebody who tries to hit you over the head with some idea of morality or logic or something like that. I called this game at the time, I said it was an experimental RPG because I wanted to be treated like a piece of artwork in that the characters in the game would have differing or conflicting viewpoints, and it was always up to the audience to decide, like, if the character's saying something that doesn't make sense or short-sighted or what have you. And I think it comes across really terribly in that way. It sort of reflects poorly of the author. You know, it's by saying how heavy-handed this guy is that I'm heavy-handed. I'm trying to speak through this guy, which totally isn't the case. So I think the quote-unquote experiment there really didn't work. I always like the idea of having characters that just, you know, you talk to an NPC and then they'll tell you where to go, but what if they just lie to you, or what if they're wrong? You know, I always like the idea of people being mistaken, like human factors playing into a game, and I tried to express it in this way through this character and through others. And in a way, I think that comes off as really frustrating for the player. It's an interesting experience to have someone try to hit you over the head with a message like this guy will. And then the problem, one of the problems with that is you really don't understand what point the game is trying to make. Like it seems to be that it goes back and forth. And I think the problem is it should have a message, because when it's conflicted like this, then you know you're really not sure what it's supposed to mean. I love the bars coming in to make it like a a cinematic moment. That was one of the events in the event system that you could do. And this is definitely the longest like scripted sequence in the game. I feel like this is something I wrote very early on in the game. So in this case, Marcus is choking. The doctor is, I think, the guy on the bottom right, the spiky hair. Because it sort of looks like he's wearing a lab coat. Which I can't even tell. My eyes are so bad. It's some kind of pirate, maybe? Named Calvin. I love Pronto, how they use that in Earthbound. And here's again that, you know, he went to a pie eating contest, and the mother's like, "What have I done?" Like she's done some grave sin. Now James is at home. So I guess it's implied or directly said that Marcus died from the pie eating contest. I wanted to use the you just saw the drop in from the top, the fade in for this thing, but with the bottom of the screen being black, you really don't get the same cinematic look. But I like that there's the character disappears, there's the fade out, or excuse me, the black bars come down, and then there's this dialogue. Oh, some route on that. Wow. Let me go on the top side of you, so let me go walk through the kitchen, turn around, come down. We'll be ready in case anything happens, but nothing ever has anyhow. I don't like how that's written. A young boy had to pay the price? What? Oh, the writing on this is bad. Sometimes reality just hits you hard. This is probably my favorite line of the game. Not this one here. And the way that the question mark is delayed. So yeah, we saw heaven in a couple sentences ago. Now this is a direct reference to God or morality, and so I don't know. On one hand, you've got like the sort of the societal start over by leaving California and coming to this island, but now you've got like sort of a religious background to that as well. It's interesting. So now you've just sort of introduced faith out of nowhere. I think my brother used to play this on guitar. and then he just kind of like transcribed it into a MIDI. Yeah, all the songs in this game started out as MIDI, and then they were put through some programs with like better instruments, and then converted into WAV files, and then I had to chop them up manually to make sure that they were repeatable, like they didn't linger too long at the end, or there wasn't like empty space, that they worked like that. So you got the somber music instead of the farm music. I feel like a chicken ran away. I feel as if a chicken ran away. Like he feels sad. I love chickens. The loading icon's a chicken. Let's see. Sorry, James. I'll have to tell you a story. Okay, so yeah, he shut his trap. I'm seeing a lot of like screen tearing too when I go vertically. It's not something I ever noticed on the 360, so I think maybe it's just a capture card, but I don't know if that comes across to YouTube or wherever this gets uploaded anyway. Yeah, so there's a lot of like conflicting messages in here, and it's sort of up to the player or if the intent was, it was kind of up to the player to make up their mind about how they interpreted it and how they felt about it. And I don't know. I think it was it's a bit too confusing at that level. I think you kind of you assume what these characters are saying is kind of the voice of the creator in a way, and although that was completely not the intention, that's probably how it's going to be, how it's viewed. Kind of yucky inside. I really don't know what the intended audience for this game was with the use of verbiage like yucky and pronto and stuff like that. I guess it was kid friendly at least. And here's the awkward transition from, okay, you're a boy, now you want to become a man, so get out of the house and start your journey. Oh, this is his excuse for not coming with you, is he can't teach it to you. And again, here's the repeat of heaven. It's a clear influence, in the writing, but seeing direct mentions to religion here was kind of interesting looking back. Almost like these people fled for religious reasons, and then now they're realizing that it's not all perfect as they would have thought. He's kicking this kid out on his own. What is he, like 12? Time for you to head west, and then it cuts to the title screen, sort of like they do in Invincible. West. Technetium. Golly, I think that was something Sam or Zach might have come up with during like the sessions of, hey, what should we name these places? Come up with some names. There goes the audio stutter again. It's crazy. My stomach is rumbling crazy. I hope that's not coming up on cam. Fate rarely comes into our lives when we expect it. It's an odd sentence.
Perhaps one of your friends is feeling the same way. Wink, wink, wink. Okay, so yeah, the monster was called rat poison. You'll see the word nature a lot in this game too. Things that are natural. Strive to preserve the nature around us. I feel like if you're trying to maybe see the author's message most through this game, you'll probably see it through this dad character, like, you know, this lecture here. There's my stomach again. And then here's the heavy-handedness stuffing down pie. Like, okay, don't ever have an eating contest. No fun allowed in this game. Natural order. It's a good magic card. Whoever made these monsters, those monsters, has forgotten the values of the natural order. That's interesting. So we've already ascribed this to some creator who has disrespected nature. Such a weird message in this game. So, and like I said, it's so, you'll see how it's conflicting even with itself. Very odd. I probably should have just made a game about stuff I'm passionate about. But instead I tried to have this kind of like interesting, I don't know, it was like my first or second year in college, and I had just taken like my first philosophy course. Had like all of the students in that perspective that really I really ended up enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. Really interesting questions there. I had a great professor that would just, lecture for hours and hours, and a lot of the class, just thought this guy was the most boring thing. But I ended up really enjoying some of those philosophical questions, and I think that really influenced me at the time to try to make this game about asking questions about what you're told, and but I think kind of the heavy-handedness that each character kind of brings in this game. It's very odd. It's so strange. It's so strange to me looking back at what I tried to do here. Oh, he gives you wooden nickels, I guess. There's another, not nature said explicitly, but respecting our earth, respecting our planet. I think he says that line again. We're to respect our earth lest we expect it to tolerate us. Okay, so can I go now? Can I stop getting lectured? Alright, so he gave me money, I think. What's the... Okay, so Y, the top button on the Xbox, is inventory. Where's my money? Oh, 10. I have 10 wooden nickels. Am I even healed? I'm not even healed from that battle, and I slept. SP is skill points. 25 HP, that's health. Costs 7. Oh, wow, look at that little Vi dialogue. Wow. That's funny. Oh, now Carl is what? Things? What did he say? Things just aren't the same as they always were anymore. It looks like I put it through Google's Translate. What the heck? Things just aren't the same as they always were anymore. Oh, that's such odd. I don't even. That's just an odd sentence. Oh, there's people out at the beach. I guess I should go see what I did over here. I don't remember this. Oh yeah. Oh, and a cross. There's another religious. God bless him. Heaven. There's heaven mentioned again. See, this running religious theme here is much stronger than I would have thought. Not other than the cross here is the overtly, I'd say, Christian um, visualization, but it's sort of like a neutral religious. Hey, there's this God, there's this natural force. I think before that point, you could really ascribe it to anything, although the cross kind of really pins it in one direction. It would have been more interesting, I think, to just have a gravestone, maybe, and just, you know, maybe leave the religion mentions there a little more ambiguous. So James is here blocking the gate because, you know, we're going to add another member to our party and need to make sure that that happens before the player leaves. So you're literally gate kept by this event. Oh, what about your dad? There's a natural question. James and Josh, two J names here, and it's you gotta read the names very carefully to see who's talking here. I don't like that. Westward. Oh, I love that. The little dim. It's not a complete fade out, but like a, hey, hold on a second. We're gonna teach you about the game. I don't know why I call this crafting, but essentially, like, if you have an item in your inventory and you're not near a shop and you want to get rid of it, you can press X and it will just scrap the item into a small amount of the currency, the WN. For some reason, I call that crafting. I think because every game at the time had crafting, and so it was the cool thing to say. But yeah, it's sort of like, you know, if I need room for something now, I can't sell anything. I can just scrap it into a little bit of money and make room. Although I don't think the inventory space is necessarily that limited in this game, so I don't know why you'd actually do that. I think there's something to it that might be a little more interesting if it had a bit more refinement and thought. So the amount of WN you should get per item is listed as CV. It's like wooden nickels, craft value. These little acronyms just confusing. Joshua can only craft weapons and armor into wooden nickels, so don't bother trying to make wooden nickels out of potions and the like. Oh yeah. So if you hit the right bumper, you get the save load menu. And this one actually has rounded corners. The first menu that I've seen with rounded corners so far. Wow. This arrow is, you can see the black and white arrow there. It's straight out of MS Paint. I'm going to save on save file 2. Who's this? Oh, she's teaching you about hit points and I think it stands for hit points. I like how she has an opinion like, I think it stands for skill points. Keeping these both balanced? I wouldn't say balanced is the right word. Keeping them both maximized. Yeah, so again, like the RPG Maker thing, you've got, you know, the different layers. So you've got the ground layer with this dirt. You got the higher layer with the trees and the mountains. You've got events that could either be, you know, like this, let's say this chest. It makes the chest have collision, or you can have events that you walk on, like a step type event. conversations, and any event really is like a string of actions. So you could have an event trigger, like you saw at the pie eating contest. Events could trigger conversations. They could trigger character movement. They could trigger animations, pauses, switches being flagged. Like for example, this chest having its own switch that says, "Okay, now there's nothing in it." Anyway, now we're getting to the cave. This is a great example of how stubborn I was at the time. I made this gigantic map, and I did it basically all by hand. And each map was sort of an XML document with a series of numbers that represented the tiles, the textures for the tiles, and I basically wrote all of them by hand. What is this monster? Haymaker? Haymaker, that's right. He's got a little box in them. This is one of... I love the... If you could see the original sketch by Joe, he did an amazing job on the sketches, like way better effort than anything I did art-wise on this game. I love I love what he came up with for the Haymaker. And then so he did hand sketches on like tracer paper, and then I would take pictures of them or scan them, put them in the computer, and then I would do like the very basic like, outline and coloring and all that stuff. So yeah, I am the reason why they look terrible. But the source material that I have was really awesome. He's a great artist there. I honestly don't remember where to go in this cave, so I'm just gonna, kind of explore a bit. But fade out takes a bit of time. How small it is. This is probably one of my favorite tracks from the game. My brother wrote. It's like probably one of the longer tracks. So yeah, all this stuff was written in C#, and I was just a first or second year computer science student. For the most part. Yeah, this would have been like first going into second year. So at the time, what I had learned from my brother was the concept of like loading files, like using C# to arbitrarily, like say, here's an XML file. Let's read the contents of it and turn it into an object. As opposed to having, when I started on this, we had hard-coded maps, which is just like, here's my map class, and then map 01 was just an array of sprites. All this stuff was configurable via XML. Oh, what are these, baseball bats? This was another one I think came from a sketch from Joe. A lot of these ones, I mean, you could probably tell, like the ones that were sketched versus the ones I just took creative liberty from the internet from. Seemed like I actually put some effort into like shading that one. So anyway, yeah, these maps are basically all done by hand. And so what I would do is open up like RPG Maker and draw out the map the way that I wanted it. And then I would go row by row and sort of translate each tile into its respective number. I don't know why I was so stubborn or didn't put in enough effort to make a map maker until the very tail end of the project. It's just very naive in my approach to building and using my own tools. So pretty well every map that you see in this game was done by hand. I think you know, after this game released, it would have been very easy for me to build some tools like Map Maker, make it better, and really just keep using the core of this game as sort of like an engine that I could use easily to make other games. Oh, here's the hippie. Let's see what he has to say. Sort of a, I don't want to say allegory, but to the dwarves who dug too deep and too greedily. Summon the Balrog. But in a way, it's sort of when I mentioned slap on the wrist there, it's sort of a jab at maybe like corporate mining versus you know, the cultural decision. Oh, there's a chest down there. Sort of blaming a corporation there. It's interesting. Oh, small herb and hot tea. So yeah, I think you know a lot of this stuff in this game is well, pretty well everything is configured by XML files, and so it really makes for a half decent platform to make other games with. It's one kind of regret of this is immediately after finishing the game, I got right back to school. I was tired and exhausted and did not want to do that, but you know, it still works. Certainly could have been used by someone more talented or someone with you know creative vision or artistic ability to really polish up, you know, and make their own story. A lot of the rough edges on this are the things that you see. There are obviously things I've learned over the last many years in programming that could be better on the back end, but a lot of my failures here are sort of in the UI and the user experience and the story. You know, a lot of things that somebody with you know a better like artistic vision and skill could easily solve. The loading screens being one of the things that technically shouldn't happen. I know I'm essentially reading from file, but there's some back-end stuff I could go on and on about that could use some improvement there. It's funny, I really don't think I have a legitimate copy of the source code of this game, and at least the hard drive that exists on. I don't know where it is. But I was able to kind of like reverse engineer the source code. So I have that, and I've thought about it many times about trying to get it to work on modern systems. So maybe another 10 years from now, maybe I'll do that. But this game heavily relied on the XNA framework, which essentially provides two functions. It provides an update function, which is where you update your game logic once per frame, and then a draw function, which draws the sprites or whatever you have to the screen at a rate of approximately 60 frames a second. A lot of the stuff like the gamepad, um, drawing sprites, playing music, all that stuff is kind of handled by the framework. And these are things that I figured out how to do in, like, you know, GL, and, combined with other libraries. But it was a nice little platform to make a game. God, there's lowercase g this time. Alright, so he wants me to save because there's a boss. It's got to be in this thin section then. Oh, the controller's rumbling, by the way. So this was another one, sketch done by Joe, that I did not do justice with my coloring and technique and whatnot. The striping there looks awful, but I thought he did a great job with the portrait of this sort of a giant worm. Does this have a name? Sprayer? I forgot that's what that was called. Giant worm. Okay, so this is one of the few monsters of this game that didn't have like a what do you call that name? Didn't have a pun for a name. Uh-oh. I'll let Joshua die. Okay. Okay, got him. Super Whack and Whirlwind. I think coding-wise, I definitely should have done a better job with the status text of the battles. I think, if I vaguely recall, it was a bunch of like if statements, like one after the other, in terms of like what text to display. I think it would have been better to have like some sort of like queued mechanism where I could queue up a message for, you know, hey, this character gained a level, this is what stats they got, and all that stuff. Let's go. So we're at town number 2. Let's see, did I give this town a name? Ara, Town of the Plains. Oh, there's an inn. Yeah, looks like I could use a sleep. This is probably one of the shortest tracks on the soundtrack. This, like, interior strings. Crazy old Ian is at it again. He's locked the upper rooms to the church. Okay. Wax lemons? Interesting that Joshua is the one to pipe up for that conversation. Yeah, James's. I bet rat poisons the shop here. Why is there so much tea? Oh, never mind. I'm misreading this. So we've got potent herbs, potent tea, I think I'd rather see if there's a weapons shop. I don't know why that vendor is so creepy. What's this here? Oh, the church tower's off to the west. Who's this? Lady. An old man, Ian locked her up there. Oh, the boy knows the words northeast but doesn't know where that is. Barb. Your adventure is shorter than it might seem now. Oh, this is me talking. Yeah, that was sort of the tagline as I was writing this, was every person and thing was a symbol in some way or the other. Obviously that doesn't end up working out as intended when you've got like this NPC's sole purpose is to block you. These bushes just are so odd how they clash. There's a weapon shop. Who's this guy? Frank. I love that. I like how you use the words experience in this sentence, how it differs from the experience points. Okay, so there are 3 skills per character in this game. Okay, so I can afford the wooden axe. Twice, I suppose. I guess there is no ability to sell. So I guess crafting is the only way. James? Oh, you just go down to go to the next page, okay. Yeah, so you could hit the top button to go into like categories, so consumable items, equipable items. How do I... X? Yeah. Okay, so this is the craft dialogue. You can destroy a fishing pole and you get 5 wooden nickels, so I will do that. Quest items. You don't ever need to use quest items, I don't think, on the overworld. Battle only items? I don't know if there are any. Like bombs? That was sort of the intent, is like Earthbound, you've got bombs or bottle rockets or something you can only use in battle. And then there's things like recovery items you could use in battle or in the overworld. I remember, I'm pretty sure this house used to have a path where you could go behind it, but it was like sort of a one-way path, and people were annoyed by it. So this guy tells you the secret to the puzzle that you haven't even encountered yet. First and last fish, okay. Oh, that puzzle also requires you to have at least 1 wooden nickel. I don't recall what happens if you don't have one. I'd have to figure out... Yeah, I'd have to test that out. Oh, there's an armor shop. I totally missed this. 1 in 4 chance. Yeah, so there you go. There's the RNG for you. Yeah, it may be that James can initiate a runaway, but not any of the other characters. I don't recall. So let's just beef out one character, and then if I need to, I'll come back and get our second one. Okay. Yeah, I recall doing the sprite work on all these tiles for the church, and I really didn't like how the door ended up. You see, there's like a stray column of black pixels on the left and right side of the door that don't extend up through the blackness above it. It's just an artifact of the black outline on the blue brick. Oh, the church. This is starting to look more like something like straight out of RPG Maker. You know, they got the red and gold carpet, some wood. This is, by the way, I think this is the only song in the game that I actually wrote. Oh, that was a puzzle. Joshua again, speaking on behalf of James. Interesting. I think it was my way of trying to like give the secondary characters personality, but doesn't exactly work. If you just skim over it, you just think James said it. So what you do is you get this bookshelf, and then there's these fish. And then what you're supposed to do is pull the first fish and the last fish. And then what do you do? I thought that was the solution. I don't recall if these switches get reset when you go across the page. Or I should say from map to map. Oh no, they don't. Oh, you put a coin in the middle one. I forgot that part. Yeah, so the game gives you one. Okay, that's what happens. Oh, it's a shop fishy door. Wow. Okay. Wow, that's well, there's that puzzle. Oh, interesting how you spawn underneath the staircase in this room, so you can press up and just go right back down. Well. Anyways, here's the third character. This is Lady. Oh, the name showing up as question marks and then eventually showing up as Lady. I thought that was cute. I think I was honestly just stuck on a female name for a while. I said, you know what? She's just gonna be Lady. Any objections, Lady? And that's that's literally her name. So now we've got a third party member. I think There might be money or something up here. Yeah. Yeah, $50. Nickels. This is sort of if you remember like Brick Road from Earthbound, where something along the lines of easy things to get are often disappointing, but it's good to go out of your way to get something really good. So here, it's not very hard to go out of your way when, you know, it's a room that you haven't seen before. Obviously, you want to see what's up there, but it's something like a dungeon where you know, kind of, I've got to go this way, but what if I went that way instead? That was sort of the intent to reward you there later on. And even previously, if you look at like the cave, where you've got the items sprinkled throughout. So now that we've gotten Lady, I guess I could buy some armor. Okay. Okay, there we are. I guess she starts at, oops, she starts at 50 HP and 10 skill points as well. I definitely didn't spend a very long, oh, he just moves out of the way. Head on over to the construction crews. There shouldn't be too many monsters around those guys. Yeah, I didn't spend very much time on like level up experience requirements or formulas and whatnot. Just kept it very basic. Oh, the turkey trotter. Yeah, so around here, around Thanksgiving, they do a run called the turkey trot. He's the turkey trotter. That was another one. Joe had sketched the turkey, and then probably in MS Paint or something. That's what I drew. This guy. Cool cat. That's it. Cool cat. There's like shading behind the head, and then the rest of the body is just like one solid color. Very minimal shading. It doesn't look like fur at all. And the way that the right arm is sort of bent, it's just so... And the raised eyebrow. Oh, this makes me laugh. And this is kind of the part where you can just keep pressing A to win. I don't really, yeah, 6 wood nickels, okay. That's funny, there's a lot of these enemies I guess I forgot about. I don't like how off-center the turkey trotter is, it's just like floating up there. And that artwork, that is just embarrassing. Spray work there. I'll give it that, it's colorful. That's funny. Only one at a time? I don't recall how many monsters the battle could support. I mean, realistically, before they got shoved off the screen, I don't even know. Yeah, so that, I don't even know why I put that in the game, but yeah, if you press X 100 times, you get a health potion, I believe. Mun King? Mun King? So the monsters, who they attack, I think it's just purely random. What the monster does is it selects a random hero. If the hero is dead, it selects a different hero. If the second hero it selects randomly is dead, I think it does one more random. And then finally, if it runs out of valid targets, it'll start from player at index 0 and then just keep going until it finds a player that has health. I don't know why I remember that so strongly, but oh my gosh, what is this? Slime! Every good RPG's gotta have a slime. I don't know why it has a hat, but I love the slime. That's great. I think that was. I'm pretty sure that's one Joe drew as well. I feel like he drew maybe all of these monsters on it. Except for a Monk King. I know he didn't draw that one. I don't know about the cool cat. It's a maybe. Potenty. Potenty. Oh, there we go. There's a big battle. I don't know why the slime has a hat, but I think it's funny. And I love the exclamation mark in the name. It's not just a slime. It's slime. So I guess I can see here we at least support up to three actors in the battle. Yeah, I also don't remember there being like two sections of the swamp. We had one where it's like the more peaceful, bumbling music, and now this sort of jarring. Cool cat. Yeah, this may have started from a sketch, but the thing going on with its right paw there, that's definitely something I would have done. Now I've got to go look for those sketches. 32 wooden nickels, okay. Couldn't be 30. And a fishing pole, huh? Well, I guess I could use one. Oh, it's interesting there. The weapon listed is hands. I don't recall if I actually made an item and made it like unique or invisible, so you couldn't like sell it. I really don't remember how that worked when you had no item. I'm interested to look at the source code for that. I feel like I'm coming up on the boss soon. There's probably a warning. But for now, let's just keep mashing A. So overall, I think one thing that's somewhat consistent is that the maps always go toward the west. I mean, that was the whole idea of the game, was to go to the west. So you'll see each one of these maps usually starts on the right and ends on the left. Oh, here's the warning. This is a weird sentence. Might as well exercise that right about now. I could do without that last line. Or maybe rephrase that. The last time somebody told us to save, a big worm came out of the ground. Huh. Okay, what have I got here? Let's go by consumable. Okay. All right, I think we're good here. Oh gosh. Let's just attack. Power through. Oh, Lady seems to have increased skill points versus the other players. Rocket launcher using bramble, disguise using blaster with a rocket pointed right at us. I used using twice and I don't like it. Anyway, this is the Bramble Blaster, as you may recall from Donkey Kong Country, this stage called Bramble Blast. Well, this is putting a face to a name. The sketch for this guy was really intricate. Problem with this game is it, everything renders in 720p, 1280 by 720, so really fitting a very vertical type of boss in here didn't work very well. And so that's kind of why the first boss is the giant worm, because it really fills the giant horizontal space well. But this guy, and you might see on other bosses here, being so vertical, like, they really just don't fit well on the screen. Excuse me. Smack him. Oh, I just see the yellow text there now with the player name blinking like, hey, it's your turn. Aside from the status bar on top, of course, kind of giving that away. Can I use an item on somebody else? Yes, I can. Okay, so let's... You attack, and you attack. And then you give the... well, I guess she can use it on herself anyway. There's definitely some maybe like interesting RNG here with the damage ranges of the attacks, but I had gone back and forth between something like this versus maybe like a Paper Mario approach where you do 1 damage or 2 damage when you level up, something like that, but I stuck with this. Oh, I also don't know why that forced you to face left. There's an event there. It might be that the boss event got shifted over and the Switch tells it not to do anything. I don't know. Oh no, each one of the bushes is an event. That's interesting. Okay, here's our hippie to give us another lecture. This is one of the first... No, not the first. One of the earliest messages, I think, in the game.
So now he's against construction. Well, it seems like we do have a man-made path. It's just not a road. I should at least have healed up the party after doing a major battle, like a boss battle, but well, the game's not not very generous in that regard. How you could buy sleep. Sure. Valius, that's another name I got from somebody else. These mountains, it just pains me to look at them. There'll be a lot more coming up. I like that song. I think the audio levels, I guess you call it the mixing of some of the instruments, was a bit too loud or more quiet. Ah, this was Turbo Snake, a racing snake. It was supposed to be Turbo Snake after the Anthony Sullivan product, and then I made a racing snake because I was afraid of it, probably like a trademark thing. I don't know. This duck, Lucky Duck. Yeah, it's a lucky duck. That's another Joe drawing. Turbo Snake. I don't know if he drew that one or not. Golly. This is awful. I mean, it's supposed to be like levels of a mountain where you're like slowly climbing this hill, but just the way that it uses like the stone texture from the cave and then the mountains just placed like this, it's all very odd to me. It's really hard to tell on my video preview, but it looks like there's in the the whooshing speed lines behind the snake, it looks like there's stray white pixels. It doesn't work so well in the HD era. Although, of course, most of the time I was testing this, I was playing on using a composite video signal out to a big TV, so everything was slightly blurry. This mountain texture is basically the same, just recolored. These snowmen, like, Snowman is bigger than James. It's like of a completely different art style than the rest of the mountains next to it. It's it's some of the art decisions I made in this game are just so lazy and this is another one, like you can see it from a high level in RPG Maker, and then I just did it by hand, putting the tiles one by one into the XML from there. Kind of interesting that you went from like the mountain to mountain texture up to snow within like a very brief transition. Also, I should have done weather effects. I don't know why I didn't try to do that. Something I think even like RPG Maker 2000 had them. Would I really like to see some snow going on here.
this the one? Yeah, this is it. This is where we get our books and other stuff. That's a great description. And it's a copy paste too. Oh, that's word on the wind is often about you now. I think I heard word on the wind from Mother 3. Oh, it's just sort of like a way of saying it's a rumor that's being spread about you. Now here's the first mention of Blaine. I don't know why this room is designed so strangely. Like there's this big jagged brick piece separating mother and son. Maybe because I have her move during the cutscene and not having the... I didn't want the player to get in the way of that. That might be it. And here's another lesson the game's trying to teach you again. Oh, and then he says... trying to get rid of the question marks quickly, so... Hey, I'm James, by the way. Nobody likes to have no fun, you know. That's an interesting sentence. Sunray Toys. Slimy Helios Vector Corporation. That's another one Sam came up with, Helios Vector. But Sunray Toys. Helios being of the sun and Vector being like a ray. Take over the island through its kids, so I guess that's... I sort of forgot that it's kind of like a plot point. By like... It's sort of like the Halloween movie with the masks where they try to like explode or take over the children. Like this is the big bad toy corporation that's trying to like brainwash the kids. And then by saying that that's normal, you're just like the rest, aren't you? You never question why things are the way they are. So sort of like an over the top like conspiracy theorist. And again, that comes off. It's like it sounds like that's my message. You know, it's just. I think it was okay. You know, in this game, it was the idea to give characters the kind of their individual personalities and opinions, and you know, to kind of let you judge what's stupid and what's sane. And then Sunshines and Rainbows, that was probably from Rocky 6. Ain't about making toys. Here's the language kind of showing itself here. Getting the people of this tiny island. Still am, really. Stranger danger. They knocked him out? They invited him to play toys, they knock him out, and then they run tests on him. What? Why does she stand there? Could she like move up and over one more square? Genetic experimentation. Oh, so now here comes this lecture. And here's the theme of nature again. And so this is sort of, you know, you look at the Chimera projects from Mother 3, and then this is the poor man's adaptation of that into its own game. It should just have a big sign saying, "This is bad, this is the bad guy."
here's, oh, it's evolution now. That's bad. That's science bad. And another direct reference to God. Very interesting. Evil Blaine. I love the pausing on that. I wish I could play that back. Going to a problem is always worse than tackling it. There's the audio skipping again. God. There's another God reference. I didn't realize, at the time that there were so many religious references in this to God, to heaven, morality, stuff like that. The reference to on top of a mountain is because they are literally on top of a mountain. Not a metaphoric statement there. And this is where everybody kind of chimes in with their personality. Joshua just cares about toys. Flour? Why would he keep flour in his bedroom? Barrels of flour. Books and other stuff. Also, the song is driving me crazy. Let's get out of here. That conversation was way too long. Anyway, here's the third section of the game from Valius. I think at this point the exit is through the north here. Oh, there's still an item and weapon shop to do. What is this here? Why? Oh, maybe. I wonder if I had problems putting two shops on the same page. That's interesting to me. I think I'll start with damage this time. Oh, iron sword, 5 power. I'll buy 2 of these. Oh, this UI is so strange. Zach is on the bottom right. There's no space between level 4 and the name James. It's interesting. That song really gets to me. Maypads. Iron Vest. That's cool. Well, I guess that'll do. Okay. Nothing in the bucket. Faith. Soon become as little as none. Again, the writing in this is horrible. I think
this is a play on that song from Mother 3, and then There Were None. Oh, there's monsters out here. Dr. Jackal. There he is. Oh, you lucky duck. Oh, I probably should have stayed at the end, but I don't think that's going to matter. So this dungeon... I remember doing this in RPG Maker, laying out the setup for this. I always... I vividly remember some of the... well, let me just... What is this guy's name? Mr. Tiger. From... is that Rocky 2? How you doing today, Mr. Tiger? Anyway, yeah, if you think about like Dragon Quest 1, 4, at least the ones that I've played, they always had these big towers, and you'd go up a bunch of floors of like really similar looking environments. And you'd have, you know, like this area of level 2 is cordoned off, so you have to go up to 3 and then back down to 2, and I did notice the edges of these tiles when I was making it, how they're so, well, this black border and everything. Anyway, I always felt that was like too much of the same, and so I wanted to throw in this little section where you're actually like outside, and you're coming back out and in, and then this area here is, it is the same map as the hippie. So you should see the same monster groups. Yeah, Dr. Jackal. Just kind of teleported you to the different location. So if you could zoom out, you would actually see this here. And if there was a way to walk through mountains, then, you know, you could conceivably walk up there. But anyway, you know, I tried to, I didn't want this game to be very grindy, first of all. And then when playing through this section as it was, I just found it very monotonous. Especially, I think this part's where it gets much larger. Yeah. So I wanted to break it up with some scenes where you were outside like that. It also really didn't help to have the slow fade out and the music restarting all the time. That's something I'd probably fix. Oh, an empty chest. Oh, here we are, Jerk Frost. This is Ramblin' Rhino. Again, with the front right paw, or hoof or whatever in this case, holding some kind of strange implement. That makes me laugh. Yeah, so I was kind of in like a weird, what do you call it, position here, where I wanted to have some dungeons and some, you know, RPG elements, but it just was never really like the focal point of the game, much less, you know, if you look at some other RPGs where, you know, Dragon Quest is much more heavily into grinding, and this much less so. I don't think I've found a really good solution to that delicate balance in this game. Mr. Tiger. Again, another monster that doesn't work well because it's got to be squished in a very small vertical space. But Disco Elk, I don't remember why I thought that would be funny. I mean, I love it's like bell bottoms for the legs, and then he's got an afro and a disco ball. I just, I don't know. This was 10 years ago. I don't know what I was thinking. Goofy. If I remember correctly, there's a set of keys to find in here. I just recall like not really having a fun time making this map. Didn't have fun testing it. I did like this reuse of areas. Yeah, red key. There we go. Jerk Frost. One of my favorite enemies, Jerk Frost. It's so simple of a stupid pun. Anyway, I'm rambling about my terrible dungeon design. It's another one of those puzzles. I forget who I mentioned talk about it. Maybe it would be Civi talking about like an FPS, but this is one of those examples of where you find the key before you've even found the lock. Random guy in a dungeon. I always thought that was interesting when you're in a dungeon and somebody else is in there and they're like, I can't figure this out. It's like, it's really only like, I don't think there's any dead ends in this dungeon. Like every corner has something, so if you just explored it. Like if he would have gone that much further, he would have had hot tea. And then maybe he's the reason why the chest earlier was empty. If he just opened the first one and he's been sipping his hot tea from that first chest ever since. Lucky duck. I really haven't been paying attention to the experience point gains, but it seems like they're much higher now than they were before. Which key? The red key or the blue key? Well, I guess it doesn't matter. We've used them. You know, when I started kind of the idea of making video games, I started with RPG Maker 2000 back in, in my childhood. But then, when I actually made a full RPG, it wasn't until maybe I was a sophomore in high school. I made an RPG with RPG Maker and made copies of it and gave it out to my friends. There's something about that experience that I always find fun to look back on. Just, being a kid, not knowing how to do anything, and then you got this amazing tool that'll let you make a game from scratch. It really captured me from the beginning. But the second, I made a series of games actually on that RPG Maker, and the second one was Christmas themed, and that's when I was thinking of monsters to come up with for that game. It was Jerk Frost was among the first. I don't know what would have been up. I kind of want to see what's to the north. This would have been back in, oh, 2006 maybe, when I was using RPG Maker to actually. Oh, no. I'm not sure which way I want to go here. I feel like there's a piece of equipment maybe down here this way. Yeah, there is. Super shield. What is that? 5 defensive power. Okay. Sure, so let's give that to Lady, I guess. Chain Cloak is 3. Iron Vest is 4, so this is even better than the Iron Vest. So let's get rid of the, I guess I had a fishing pole. Somebody had one. And an extra Chain Cloak. We're not going to need that. I think that's it. Yeah. Those menus, I spent a lot of time debugging those menus, and I'm sure that there are probably bugs that I haven't found, but I'm kind of amazed for the most part that it mostly seems to work. Like, especially with this battle screen, I had so many bugs going on with battles. I'm glad for the most part that it's, I haven't encountered any bugs. Valius's hammer skill. Zach, of course, being named after Zach, who's in the credits. He's a big, strong guy. Save your game before reaching the cliffside, or save your game to save your backside. That is just such a dumb little rhyme. Yeah, so this time, I'm not sure why I didn't do this elsewhere, but you can see the monster up ahead. Like, you can see there's like a abominable snowman. I don't have any health recovery. I wonder if I keep pressing the X button. I've been pressing it a little bit here and there, and in between talking. There we go, there's the HP potion. So I can at least give Lady some health. I honestly don't remember if there are any, recovery skills, or if they're all damage skills. Biggest creature I've seen in ages. I saw somebody make fun of this line because the giant worm was like way bigger than this thing. Yeah, again, the verticality of it doesn't really suit the RPG menu. Lady Fury, because her name is Lady. So we've got 14 skill points, so I guess we'll use 10 there. She has 21, so we'll get another one of those out. 16, we'll get a hammer. James has 3, so he'll just attack. Joshua has 4, so he'll attack. Lady has enough, so she'll attack. And Zach has 6, so he'll use Heavy Stomp. Okay, James probably use a Potent Tea, give it to Zach. Lady will use a, oh, she's at 5. 10 SP, huh? So basically giving the person one more skill, a level 3 skill usage. I think I missed that. It said lady was healed for something HP. Let's see here. Try and use the T. Oh, I just left a generic HP/SP. Oh, there we go. So yeah, the battles in this game were never difficult. It's just a boat race, and you just mash the A button. Yetis? Apostrophe S? What, the big blue line in the sky? No, the city, of course. Oh, hey, the song about the sky. Okay. I guess that's, you're supposed to glean from that conversation that you're heading down the mountain now. Wow, that was very, very quick trip down the mountain. It's just went from snow to dirt to grass. One very small movement. Oh, here's the hippie again. Heliospectre builds a factory on the side of a volcano. Well, now we made it to the city. I don't love this track for the city, but ooh, that audio glitch was bad. What's this here? All right, yeah, we're in the city now, so you can't use wooden nickels at the shop. It's not traditionally labeled as a shop. It's kind of a nameless, faceless, gray building. I think somebody critiqued the spelling on this, like, streets is crowded. Well, obviously he's, you know, saying with an accent, streets is crowded. I mean, there's a difference between how people write and how people talk, and when you can't do the voice, then, you know, you get times like this where you think it's a spelling mistake. Nutcases. I love that pause. Oh yeah, there's a big protest here. That's lazy. Cool cats, like we fought earlier. Mother Nature capitalized here again. This is so stupid. It's just. That's just the
I don't know why I made him just like a naive child. Terrible atrocities, dumping waste. So the people are aware of the the haymakers. Leading by example doesn't just cut it. Just doesn't cut it anymore. Wow, I don't really remember almost any of this dialogue. Oh yeah, there's your hint that there is an alternate shop. I love that idea. This slide reminds me so much of Earthbound. It's like, you know, somebody making a joke and they're like, well, they stop to think about it. Well, actually, you know, if that's what you prefer. Like the shark in the arcade of Earthbound is like, I actually prefer drinking tea, but it doesn't fit my cool image. This is the Bradley Apartments. So I guess we've gone up. Across the hall. Well, who's here? No, nobody, I guess. The way these tiles look, that's just hurting my eyes to look at this. The flooring. So this is Brett B. Bartlett's Fine Shops. I was probably listening to The Great Escape, that movie with the squadron leader Bartlett. I always like that name, Bartlett. I think that's where I got it from. I got a lot of money somehow. But I think I'll start with weapons. I like the idea of the kids running a shop, and I wanted to have them give like little disclaimers, like the eventual equipment failure clause. Well, I do need some items. There's the inn. Might as well. Yeah, I don't know. The idea of the game was going west and so slowly kind of advancing through like a more industrialized state. I always thought it was kind of funny to keep like a hey, while the parents are out doing their thing in the street or doing business or whatnot, you know, you've got the kids version where they go into the apartments and they go play kids store. And how, you know, it's sort of a story of growing up, and yet you still got these links back to sort of the childhood innocence. So we're gonna give everybody super swords. I don't like that the cursor resets when something is equipped. Although there may have been a good reason why I did that. Oops. Okay, so we're at 174 in terms of dollar dues. Might as well just buy a bunch of those. Oh no, I don't want to do that. And just buy one of those. Let's see. I like the idea of super being the best quality of item here. So you've got the super shield and the super sword. So we got the superb. Might as well buy super T, right? Ready to take on the end of the game. Does this one show that it's out of order? Okay. Why would I do that? I mean, you know you want to go down the elevator. Why would you want the game to go, you have to push the button? Maybe the tediousness of it was the point. Saying, God, I hate things that are tedious. There's an accident the other way, too. Can't really see. Yeah, you couldn't even see the logo on the building. Maybe if you go down. I don't know if it's my screen, maybe cutting it off, but there is a big HV on this building for the Heliospectre. I love this. Again, it's exactly like fighting the sharks in Earthbound, where you talk to somebody and then, hey, wait a minute, and they pick a fight. I like that the sprite is essentially that guy, you know, just bigger. Yeah, this is sort of the oh, it's an interesting spawn. Threw me off there. It's sort of pushing the morality to the found a card key, to the extreme, where we're saying, hey, you know, joy never amounting to anything in life. Yeah, I wanted to make them so negative. Just over the top. Stickman's Ghost. That was like a. That's like a game my friends used to play. They do drawing battles. They'd invent Stickman, and they'd play for the 100,000th time. So every time they'd play, he'd have a ghost. I struggle to remember the reference there. What is this here? In Hook's Law? Okay, they get hooked in the side of the face. I was gonna say, I don't remember having a joke about springs, but no, it had nothing to do with that. Okay. Okay, gotta take one more break and then we'll be back to finish up the rest of this game.
All right. Quarks. Some more lame physics jokes. Okay, more card keys. Oh, that's sad. I think it was probably just me being mad at Calculus 2, where you had to memorize a lot of those things. Like just memorizing, hey, what's the derivative of this? What's the integral of this? The quadratic formula that I still know today, but, you know, at the time, hasn't really been useful. Calculus stuff more so, just memorization of integrals and derivatives when it's something you could very easily look up. Lobster points. Yeah, no, just now we're just completely over the top. People complaining that they can't experiment on children. I think the point of it was to see if it's really interesting where the line is drawn in terms of moral science. Although this doesn't really add anything to that conversation. It just asks the question, which is a lazy way of dealing with the issue. Can't you even speak? It's that line I think is kind of like from Prince Pooh when he's going through his moo training, and he's taking his mouth and he can't even speak. I always like the idea of putting monsters into the into the world so you could see them, although they really should move around. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the last room of the game. So, it's not been very long, and here we are at the end. Yeah, here's Blaine already. Again, the cutscene bars at the top really don't have the effects because the top is already black.
This is a very long conversation from my memory. Yeah, so the idea of this is not that evolution theory bad. It's taken to the extreme where try to hurry things up, so to speak, by introducing forced changes. But the joke of it is, it's like you know you get haymaker, rat poison, disco elk. Like you get that stuff out of it. That's the actual outcome, which is funny. This is another one of those things where like the hero defeating enemies makes the hero stronger, but yet also somehow makes the end boss stronger. I think that was like the concept at the end of Blood, was that was it Chernobog, I think, would kill you, and basically like you absorbed all the souls and became powerful, so by killing you, you would become even stronger. Natural order again, magic card. I always like that line. It's kind of weirdly written, but First Lady with the humor. Speak for the trees. Such heroic nonsense, of course, Transformers. I love this soundtrack. Just let the song play and
for an end boss, this guy really doesn't do that much damage. It's not very threatening or anything like that, you know? Oh wow, yeah, it's already over. 1 experience. 0 win nickels. Now the controller is vibrating. Oh, this was built into the side of a volcano. How softly and hardly did I criticize? I see, he's talking about not directly confronting things, just kind of spouting off all the time. That's such a weird sentence. I tried to rewrite this a dozen times. It turned out very confusing. And of course, this is, you know, straight out of ending from Mother 3. No. Marcus, whose name was not used very much, was the pie eating contest kid. There's once a small island off the western coast of California, eventually consumed by a volcano. On the island were a secluded group of people who wanted to get away from the rest of the world. In time, however, they learned that by moving across the world, they never really escaped the true desires within their hearts. Though they were consumed physically by nature, they were also consumed by their own desires. There is many a thing that a person could take from it all, from Blaine and the ethics of science, from the poor creatures who suffered by his hand, from the terrible graphics and awful gameplay, from the solitude of an icy mountain that never heard, and the never heard trumpet on its peak. Joined together into an odd bunch of thoughts to be considered in one's own life, and portrayed now through one boy's journey west. So there we have it. Ended up being a pretty short little adventure, but you know, happy to play through it and stir up some old memories of this goofy little game, terrible little game. It was a fun project. It was definitely one of the biggest, singular
I wouldn't say accomplishments, but projects that I set out to finish, do from start to finish. So I'm at least proud of that. Um, I think content-wise, the story is lame, the graphics are awful. It makes a terrible game, but I still I can kind of put those things aside and just think about it as just like a dumb kid's project, and to be able to release it on the Xbox from beginning to end, I think that was kind of special. And, so I don't I do I look back upon it and cringe quite a bit at the writing and the graphics and the gameplay and all of that, but there's part of me that remembers that time of grinding it out and learning to program and taking on this kind of like monumental task by myself pretty well, and then seeing it through to the end. Um, there's a lot I learned from it, and it helped me make me into the developer I am today. Certainly kickstarted that whole process. Um, so yeah, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.